Hi Rose, how you going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, well, thanks. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. We've Stacey and I used to laugh when we did our first backyard ultra that one day we'll get on your podcast.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and if I ever messaged her and say, "Guess what?" Her first question was, "You on the potty?" So, so we were super excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for having
unreal.
me.
No worries. So how long have you been running for?
Oh God. So I done like the kid running. So PE was like my favourite subject at school. So I loved a bit of cross country and a bit of just basic running. And then I stopped when I left school, and I probably picked it up again when I was about 25, just to with work, just running 5Ks and stuff like that, and just did that for probably about 10 years of just the sort of lunchtime 5Ks. And then I reckon I joined a running club probably when I was, yeah, probably about 15 years ago. I joined a running club in the UK.
Yeah.
So we'd planned to do a half marathon. It was my first half marathon. It was the Royal Parks in London. So I thought I better join a running club and actually train for it. Um, and yeah, kind of haven't looked back, and became a bit of a road runner. But quite until I moved to Australia, actually, I was doing a lot of road running. And half marathon was my thing. Loved it. Absolutely loved the distance. So yeah, I'd say probably solid now for about 15 years.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you were living in the UK. How long have you been in Australia for?
Oh, nearly 10 years. It's going to be 10 years in October.
Okay. Yep. Yep. And just out of interest, what made the move? Why the move to Australia?
Well, there is a really exciting story. So, what happened?
Yeah.
Right, we were wanting to come and visit, and my husband rang me at work one day and said, "I've just won a trip to Australia, all expenses paid, to see Coldplay in Sydney."
Yeah.
And we'd won £1,000 and I think a BlackBerry as well. So the BlackBerry phones were all the thing at the time, and couldn't believe it. Was so excited. And we had family. Adam had family in Melbourne, where we live. And we were like, well, we've won this trip. Do you mind if we pay an internal flight whilst we're there and we go and see our family in Melbourne? Like, when I said, no, that's fine. You can do what you want. So we came to where we now live and came to see family and loved it and just wanted the kids posted, basically. We just could have stayed here. Just thought it was fantastic. So we went home and worked to get the visas. And yeah, so we had a bit of luck,
Yeah.
which, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now I had a look on your Strava, and it says what I noticed was it says that you ran 74 times in 2018, and then you jumped up to 193 runs in 74 in 2018 and 193 in 109 in 2019. So, was that just because you were using Strava more, or did you actually start running more?
Um, Probably both. Yeah, I'd say it was both. I wasn't, I don't think, using Strava when I first came to Australia.
Hmm.
I think a Nike account.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it was a bit of both. I kind of got here, and then I got into trail running, and then thought it was so hard at first, just courses that really aren't hard. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. Massive hill. And then yeah, I think I probably a bit of both, but I think yeah, I probably upped it certainly in the last 5 years. I'd say I've probably really upped it.
Yeah, yeah. And when did you make the decision that you wanted to start running further and running ultras and things like that?
Oh, just a few years ago, really. I think I did my first was a 50K, the Surf Coast Century. And I think because of COVID, it got postponed a couple of times, and it finally went ahead in the December of 2021.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's a great run. I don't know if you've ever done Surf Coast, but it's a fantastic run, a huge field. Um, so yeah, did that and loved it. Absolutely loved the run. And I think from there, picked up a couple more 50Ks. Um, I hadn't actually done 100K until I did it in the Backyard Ultra. Actually, it's the first time I'd ever done 100K. So I'd just done a few 50Ks and kind of sat around that 50K mark, which is a comfortable ultra, isn't it?
mm.
Rather
Yeah.
than
So that was Shepparton last year. Had you been following the Backyard Ultra format for long before that race?
Not for that long. I've got a friend, Pete. So you know Pete, Big Bird Pete. So he sometimes gets his Big Bird outfit out, and he'd told me about Backyard Ultras a few years before, and I said, "Oh my God, Pete, I couldn't think of anything worse than running round and round in circles. Just sounds horrendous." I think in my head I had park run, and I thought, "Would you just want to keep running? Like God, I'd die." And I just said, "It sounds horrendous." And he went off and did one with a friend, Mick, and they came back, and I was still like, "Oh, I don't know." And then I think I stumbled across the Dead Cow Gully on YouTube.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it was captivating. How good is that? It's just one of the best things ever, isn't it? I watched that and was in absolute awe. Could not believe what the guys were doing. I was like, so from there I then stumbled across your podcast, which I'm hugely thankful for, because that's taught me Backyard Ultras, really. I think that's like, Stacey and I have studied them, listened to all of them. So I think, it only was really probably the start of last year. And I think I was already tied into doing UTA 50.
Right.
So went and did that, and off the back of that then got my head down and thought, I'll train and we'll go and do one of these Backyard Ultras and see what it's like.
Yeah. And I know you've run a few of Robbie's trail runs or trial runs.
Yes.
Did you do that before Shepparton, or was Shepparton your first experience in a Backyard Ultra at all?
No, we did the trial one. So we went and did one, and it was in Wodonga, and it was the same weekend there was the full Backyard Ultra in, and I can't remember which one it was, but it was that like 38-degree heat weekend. Do you remember?
Yeah, it would have been Miram, weren't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that same weekend we did the trial one, and I'd obviously not listened to enough of your podcast, so I thought it was a good idea to run them all in about 40-minute loops. And after about 6, I was like as red as a beetroot and I was dying. Oh, my God. So to get through the 8 was tough. And then I think we were like, God, we need to change the way we're running these if we're going to last.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good, those ones with Robbie are fantastic. Look, they're about $40.
Yeah.
You just go and do a trial. It introduces you, see if you like it. There's a toilet there. It's great for ladies that maybe don't want to go and do that whole through the night thing, just to give it a taster and just to see, do you like it? Would you want to do a full one? And I think that's how we went into it, is let's give it a go. And if we like it, then we'll do a full one, a big one. And oh my God, once we did that, we were addicted and we were like signed up straight away and couldn't wait to do Shepparton in September.
Yeah. And so that Shepparton one in September, that's when we met for the first time. And,
we did.
I
still cringe at me and Stacey as soon as you wasn't even set up. I think you was walking along with your gear and we like dragged you over for a selfie.
And you did 19 yards at that one, right?
Yeah.
I remember you were looking really strong.
Yeah, we'd listened to enough to kind of know, right, we're going to do this run walk thing, we're going to get into it, and it seems to work. And we did that, and Stacey and I had run the first 15 together, so we did our first 100k, and we were with a couple of other girls as well, and we were all excited and loud on the course. And I think at 15, sort of Stacey said, I need to split up now, we need to do our own thing because I don't want to time you out kind of thing. So we were like, okay, we'll split up. But we'd kind of got self-reliant on each other. Right. And I think then to be on our own, all of a sudden, we it just all went wrong for us because we were so dependent on each other, I think. That I think Stacey lasted a couple of yards and then I lasted 4 more. And on that, I was done. And I remember listening to the podcast you said where you said your legs hurt and you stopped like ages ago. And it's the same thing. It was like my first full one. I was like, oh my God, my legs really hurt and I'm so tired. Like I can't go on. Yeah. And I was like, shall I, shan't I? And I was saying to my friend Greg, I don't know whether to carry on or whether to stop. And like I think with insight now, I think if you're deciding whether to stop or not, you probably could have gone on. But at the time, I was dead tired. I think like involuntary tears were just rolling down my face because I was just exhausted because you've not slept.
Yeah.
And so we stopped and Greg and I held hands and ran across the finish line together and rang the bell and we were super excited until the next day when you just think, oh my God, why did I do that? So it literally was less than 24 hours and I was just regretting it.
So you mentioned running with Stacey at Shepparton and then you didn't really have a plan for running separately. Now, I
Yeah,
did notice at Two Rivers you were running a lot together, maybe for probably about the first 15 or so yards there too.
yeah.
But did you have a plan for how you would approach the race when when you did separate?
Yeah, I think this time we kind of acknowledged there will be a split because Stacey and I are very different runners if we just went and train.
Yeah,
Um, and so we kind of said, look, we'll run together as long as we want, but we don't owe each other anything. And if it's not beneficial to our race, because we were both kind of targeting trying to get to 24 for this one, we
yeah,
said we'll split. And we kind of agreed that's that. And we did run again and did our second ever 100k together again. And then Stacey said, oh, look, I need to split and change up what I'm doing. And so she was wanting to go to a 500. And I was like, I just can't go there because I'm a bit of a clock watcher and I didn't want to be putting pressure on her and looking at my clock and being all like, fidgety about it because it would not been kind to her. So I thought after that, I'll just go on my own and see if I can tag on to people and just, even if I keep someone in sight, because the course there, overnight it was pitch black, wasn't it? It was like, and I just felt like that first 4k, I'm scared of kangaroos. I think I told you I've been hit by a kangaroo before, so
yeah,
I was like really worried. Oh my god, there'd be kangaroos on the course, and so I kind of just thought I'll keep someone in my eye, but I'm going to still stick to what I was doing. To still the plan of the walk run. I actually changed it, I think, from a 700, 300 to 200, 800 at that point because I
right.
thought you're naturally slowing down. So because
Yeah.
I'm naturally slowing down, if I actually run more, I'm probably still going to be a similar pace because
So,
that.
so were you timing your walking and running based on distance rather than time?
Yeah,
Right.
distance. Yeah. So for the first 15, we sat on a 700 run and then the 300 walk, and that worked really well until we obviously decided we'll split. Um, and that was quite funny because I think I went back to the tent when we were splitting up, and I said to Mick, "Me and Stacey splitting up," and it sounded like my relationship had broke down. I was like, my eyes, and he's like, "Rose, this had to happen at some point. You need to now run your own race, kind of thing." And like, yeah, I know. I just wanted it to be light, and I think, yeah. Once it was light, then I kind of didn't mind because we all kind of seemed to be, you could always see somebody, couldn't you? I
Yeah,
felt like
yeah,
with us, we were all similar paced. You would always have that one out front. And actually, Stacey and I spent a lot of time at the back. We just plodded through. We didn't clock watch at all.
mm,
But yeah, I did the flip then to the 800, 200.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was definitely harder to like run fast at night time just because you had to watch every step.
Yeah,
Um,
we Stacey and I had this brainwave that we would get what are they called, like glow sticks, and
uh,
we would put glow sticks down, and we thought this is amazing. We'll put glow sticks every 700 meters, so we know when but we didn't realise Robbie would be going out and sticking glow sticks down again. So when we did the next lap, thinking we'll find our glow sticks and that will tell us when to walk, there was glow sticks everywhere, and we were like, oh my god, so that didn't work so well for us. Like,
so what other? I mean, it sounds like you got a big lesson from Shepparton about like running together and then what you're going to do when you're not running together. What other lessons did you take away from Shepparton?
look, even though I didn't sleep again, I did take away the lesson of actually do lay back and put your feet up.
Yeah,
Because I didn't really do that a lot at Shep. I've got quite a nervous energy, so I think I never really relaxed. So this one, even from the very first one, the guys that were crewing me whipped the chair up. My legs were resting. So just tried to just rest as much as I could. And
yeah,
I'd also learned that probably I needed to sort out the nutrition a bit, which is still a work in progress, but I definitely got straight on top of that as well from the very first loop.
yeah, yeah. So were you trying to like eat? How did you change the nutrition? Were you just eating more, or how were you?
Yeah. So prior to backyards, I was a bit of a fasted runner, so I do a lot of my running fasted, or I'd use gels. But with this one, I kind of tried to also bring some solid foods in as well, but not every loop because I didn't want to upset my system too much. So I'd run with the tailwind, which was trying to do 500 mils of tailwind, which works for a while and then it tails off because you just can't have that much in you all
Yeah,
the time. And then I'd, either gels or bars, or I'd get a bit of solid food. And I found the soups went down really well. So a couple of times I had a different soup 'cause it's just not too heavy. I think I had a wrap, just trying to, but I'd feel a mistake I did. And I noticed it actually from your table, Pat, was all my food was in a cupboard with a zip.
Oh.
Whereas next time I'd have it on display. Because I think, because they're like, do you want this? Do you want that? And I'm sitting there going, no. Whereas I think visually, if I could have seen it myself, something might have clicked that I saw that I thought, yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah. My table, I loved the way it was set up because that's exactly what I did. I was like, yeah, pass me that. And I would just suck it down. And there would be something that I would want every loop.
That's right. And when the guys are just clutching at straws and everything they mentioned, and I don't know how many times in here my husband went on about this bloody caramel slice. Did I want that? I was like, I'm going to shove that caramel slice up his nostril. Like, just, I don't, just you need to see to know what you can actually tolerate, don't you? But yeah, I definitely tried to bring in the solids, but it's still, God, it's a work in progress with nutrition, isn't it?
Yeah. So it sounds like you knew straight away after Shepparton you wanted to run another one then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted one to be coming up straight away,
Yeah. So tell me about the decision to bring in Sam Harvey as your coach.
So I kind of, from the 19 I did, I knew how hard even that is actually. It is really hard to do 19. There's no disputing that was really tough. And I kind of wanted to jump and I wanted to do the 100 miles because I think that was the next target. Could I do 5 more? And I'm thinking it's 5 more hours. It's doable, but I'd have to work for it. It's not easy to do 5 more loops. It's a lot. So I think I'd seen on Instagram Sam was coaching. And I thought, I'll reach out to him. And I don't know if that'll work because I'm in Australia and he's in New Zealand. And does he do remote coaching and all that stuff? So I pinged him a message and like, hey, I'm in Australia and I'm into Backyard Ultras. And I, watched Dead Cow Gully and I was absolutely in awe of Sam in Dead Cow Gully. Just amazing. All of the guys were. And he pinged back pretty much straight away. No, that could work. And we'll set up a chat and trying to get an idea about what sort of runner I was, what I wanted to achieve, all of that stuff. So, we arranged that and we did like an hour's Zoom and just had a chat and, all those questions and what you're running and what your watch is and what's your nutrition and what have you achieved in the last year or so. And we kind of had that sort of chat. And then, I was so super excited. So I messaged Stacey and I'm like, guess what? And she's like, you're on the poddy. No, I'm not. But guess who's coaching me? And she's thrown all these names at Kim Paprazak, all these people. And I'm like, no. Yeah. Sam Harvey. I was super excited. Such a name dropper. But I kind of really respect him. I think he's really gritty. And I just thought, this could be really cool. And I'd never had a coach. And I just thought that will give me accountability. When someone says, "Oh, how you done?" You're like, "Oh, sorry, I did less than the first time." Sorry. So I just thought, it'll give me that accountability to just go out there, work bloody hard, and I thought he'll have loads of jewels of wisdom in his head that he'll be able to share with me.
Yeah, awesome. And was that how long after Shepparton was that?
So I started with Sam in January.
Okay. Yep.
So I think after Shepparton, I went and did 4 peaks, probably a month or 2 after that. And then I got into the Hardcore Harry's challenge in December, a K a day increase, which was good fun. And then started with Sam, in January. And I was actually in the UK when I started with him. So it was a bit of a sort of dodgy couple of weeks. And I said, I'm really sorry. I probably won't be great with the plan. The weather's cold. It's, I'm visiting family. It's going to be hard. And then I got back and head down, really got into the training plan. And I'm quite, I can quite stick to a plan. I think I did for Shepard and I did Hanny Alston's plan. And I stick to them like glue. So, I really got into it and found it motivating. And being older as well, I couldn't be bothered with speed work anymore. And, you just get a bit lazy and stuff. So when I was looking at the plan, I'm like, oh, my God, I've got to go and do track work. And God, but it pushed me for sure.
Awesome. So when did you, I guess 2 questions. When did you lock in 2 Rivers and what was the decision for deciding to run at 2 Rivers?
So I'd actually done the course as one of the Trail Series trials, so one of the 8 lap caps. And it was a really nice course. I liked it. I loved that you run along the river. I thought, yeah, it's a nice course. It's really nice. So I was kind of interested in that. Yeah, I can't remember when I actually locked it in, but it would have been last year because I'd started with Sam with a plan to doing it in January. So it would have been probably about sort of November time, I'd have to guess. I'd say when it first came up. I was probably one of the first people on there. And I just thought, oh, that's perfect. That's really good timing. I have a good training sort of run up to it. It sits well. And it already in the back of my head was sort of thinking Shepparton next year. So there was a good gap between the two as well.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, that sounds good. And the running team up there, I'd known Andy, who was one of the sort of main people of that, and met him, a couple of times. So I thought, oh, that would be really cool. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you did mention the Hardcore Harry's challenge that you did. And I follow you on Strava, so I was watching you every day run more and more and more. So can you tell me about that Hardcore Harry's challenge and how far you actually got?
Yeah. So, fantastic challenge. And I'd say to anyone, try it if you haven't got anything in the pipeline. So you start on the 1st of December, 1K, 2nd of December, 2K, so on and so forth. And which at first you're like, God, this is easy. I've only done, 20K this week. This is lovely. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, Jesus, this is like, all of a sudden it's got hard because the weather was hot and I'm doing 15K and then the next day 16 and 17. And, you've got to fit this in. But it was a really fun challenge, actually. It's amazing how your body adapts and goes for it. And I think I got up to Christmas Day, the 25th. So that was 25K on the 25th. And I went with my friend Pete and he'd sort of planned this route up and down Rosebud Pier, where we'd do 25K on the pier, just going up and up and down. God knows how many laps of that pier we did. It was a bit of a crazy one, but it was good fun, actually.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think I was starting with Sam a week later, and I thought, God, I've done 135Ks this week. It's probably the second biggest week I've ever had. The only time I'd done more was when we did Shepparton. So it's a lot of Ks. And if I do next week, I'm going to have to do a lot more Ks. And then when I start with Sam and I'm like rubbish because I can't even walk. So on the 25th, I sort of thought, I'll pull out. I've given it a good crack. And I think I came third anyway, third lady. And I think Nikki Wind was in there and there was another girl, Lisa, in there. And I think they ended up coming joint first. And they both went to the 31st of December.
Right, yeah.
But it's a really fun challenge, and I'd say anyone can pick it up. It's just fun.
Yeah, I might try one next. I might try one when I've got no races coming up.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really fun, and it looks really pretty on your Strava when the line just goes up really nicely.
So physically, leading in, like the days leading into Two Rivers, like, were you feeling like awesome, like, and you were ready to go absolutely bananas?
I was feeling fantastic until about 2 weeks before, when I all of a sudden felt the most fatigued ever. So I'd followed Sam's training plan, and I think the mileage, we was probably sitting on about 110K average a week, which is a bit of a jump up for me. I normally would sit around maybe 60, 70K on training for something. And I felt amazing, and I was getting PBs in a lot of my distances, which are, at my age you don't get anymore. So I was like, yeah, I feel great. And then all of a sudden, just died a death. And I think Sam had created a Zoom for all of the people he trains, and he's like, I think I messaged him with a big meltdown, and he must have been like, what the hell?
Yeah.
She's like, total meltdown. I was on the Zoom going, oh my God, I feel so bad. Like, just feel so fatigued.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a bit of because I was in taper then, whether all of a sudden you stop running and you get a little bit sluggish. And I kind of really wanted to achieve and thought I'd been going really well. So there's a bit of panic in there. So, a couple of weeks before. And then I think a week, roll on a week more. And I was like, oh, my God, I feel great again. So just that sluggish when the taper first started, I think. But I felt really good. And I thought, I think I can definitely do the 100 miles, the 24. And I'd really like to try and push on if I can pass. But I'd be really happy with 24.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like I'd done enough work and some strength work, and I thought, I should be able to get it.
Yeah, sure. And what was your mindset like leading into the race? Like, was it all about hitting that 24, or were you all in and just going to just keep going till you couldn't go anymore? Or?
Yeah. We was like, so I run them with Stacey, and we just get there, and like the crew we've got normally are fantastic. Whoever we've got, they're good fun.
Yeah.
So we just went in, and we'll stick together for as long as we can, and then we'll try to hit our 24. And then I just thought, you know what, I'll push on if I can. And I think in the back of my mind, because when I sort of said to Sam, you know, I'm aiming for the 24, but I'll do a plan to 30 just to, because otherwise I'll stop at 24. And that's what your podcast always says. If you set it for a certain number, you stop there. So I thought I'd extend past that. And I kind of seriously, actually, nutrition wise, looked at going to 30. And I messaged to Sam and said, what do you think? And he just wrote back 31.
Right.
Which I never actually reached. But yeah, he's like, whatever I say, he's got to go one more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so we're locked in with that 30. And then when Mick, who was one of the crew, sent me my plan, he said, I've written an empty plan to 48. Can you fill it in? And I was like, oh, I love that you believe in me, Mick, with your 48. But I think at 40, I wrote call the ambulance. And
Right.
48, I said, I don't think I can put the gazebo down anymore. So I kind of seriously thought 30 would be great, but I don't know if I'll get there.
Yeah.
But I hope I did. Yeah.
I mean, the crew you had with you were awesome. You've got an awesome like community in Mornington, and they all heaps of your friends and from the running group were there. What instructions did you give them as far as making you keep on going out for another loop? Did you tell them like, no matter what I say, you've got to make me keep going out?
Yeah, I did exactly that. So I said, I don't want to finish in the chair. Yeah. And I've shook with Andy, and we're not finishing in the chair. And no matter what, just get me to start it. I don't care if I time out, but do not let me finish. And I'd sort of told them all this. So they knew, yeah, just keep her going, whatever. And they kind of, when I was actually going through it, and I actually had a really bad lap. I think I probably burst into tears on you on lap 20. Well, I think it was my PB lap.
Right.
And I just had a bit of a hard lap. And I don't know if it was always like that if you're doing your PB lap, where you hit a bit of a hard time. And I got back, and that was my first meltdown. And then I actually picked back up again, and I was fine. But I think when I got deeper into the 20s, the higher 20s, and I started thinking, I think the thing is, you think, I don't even care. I don't even want to do it no more. You kind of get like that. And I know what I've said, but I don't even care. Yeah. But they started messaging Sam, who was, I think, crewing some people at UTA at the time. And he just was like nope, just get her back out there. Just put some Voltaren on her knee and slap her on the ass and get her back out there. So he was like really hard love. And they're like, who's going to tell her? Who's not? They're going to tell her. So they were trying to be really like hard love with me. And you know, and I wasn't dead, but I think my head was starting to go. And I think, but then I'd run round, and a couple of times I opened up my phone, and Sam sent me a nicer, kinder thing. So one was just a smiley face and, you know, just keep pushing. And then another one, keep trucking, honey. So he was like giving me little things, sort of like, no, I can do this. But when I get back there, he was hard love that he was telling them to just get her back out there.
Yeah. So you mentioned Voltaren on the knee. Like, were you having issues with your knee?
Yeah, my knee was sore. And I don't know if it's because it was so flat that we didn't have that change of gradient. So my knee was getting sore. Not terrible. Like, the knee didn't take me out. Like, it was sore. But whatever was wrong, and I think my foot was wrong, my toe was wrong at one point, and they were like, oh, no, that looks all right. And they bandaged it up. Everything that was kind of wrong, we managed to just get on top of and patch up. But you obviously can't patch up headspace, can you?
Yeah. Now, as far as your loop-by-loop plan goes that you mentioned you had, did that only include, like, what you were going to eat, or what other types of things did you include on the plan?
Yeah, no, there was any clothes changes, which I didn't have loads because I haven't done enough to know, but I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll change my trainers, you know, when it gets dark. Or I did want to clean my teeth. That was always something I thought, a reset for the next day, because that's something that seems to, and I did do that. And there was the 2-2 lap, and there was Stacey's PB lap, and there was my PB lap, and then there was, 24, get a certificate of Laz lap.
Yeah.
So there was stuff, but I think the more you do, the more you'd put into that. And I think in the end, even with changing clothes, and in the end, like, do you want to change? I didn't want to anymore. I think you become protective of yourself, and I just wanted to stay in my warm clothes with my same trainers on. You just become a bit insular because you're just trying to get through the laps, aren't you? And it's like, I didn't even have it in me to start changing tops and stuff.
Mm. Now, you did mention like how you were running the loop, like 800 or 700 meters run, 300 meters walk. You went into the race with that as your strategy, yeah. But how did you like adjust and change as the race went on?
I didn't. The only flip I did was when I did the flip when Stacey and I split, and then I went to the 800, 200. But I actually then was chatting to Andy, and he was like, actually, I run the first K and then do my 200. So I only know that I've ever got to do 200 after a K.
Yeah.
So you're looking at your watch less. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I actually tried to stay with that for the whole time. And I think even when I came out of it, my body was still doing that 800, 200.
Yeah.
So I actually managed to stick on that, and I didn't get to the point where I had to change it again. Like I didn't go far enough to then be like, right, and now I need to do a 500 or whatever.
Yeah. And did you practice that plan like in your runs before the race as well?
Yeah, we did a couple of the trial ones. Well, certainly two of the trial ones I did 800, 200 when I did, because I've done, I think, three of Robbie's trial ones I did. So on those, I did practice that, and I was pretty comfortable with that. And I think, it depends if it's more hilly. Like the problem with, not the problem, but this was a flat course. We were like, actually, an 800, 200 is not going to work because otherwise we'll be getting in too quick.
Yeah.
So a 7.3 will sit fine for this course because it's flat. And then that gives them something to play with later on, doesn't it? It's like,
Now, as far as you've mentioned a few challenges you had during the race, like your knee and things like that. But what would you say were all the challenges you had to overcome during that, say, the first 24 hours?
Fear of the dark. So the kangaroo thing was an issue with this one because I am seriously scared of kangaroos. So that one, I think, as soon as I heard might be kangaroos on the course, and that the guys had done a trial one, and there was definitely kangaroos, and I was like, oh my God, I'd never would have booked this if I'd known there was like kangaroos on the course, Jesus. So that one was just a bit of a mental challenge, but I was with Stacey and she's like, okay, we'll stay together, we'll be good. And I think she only dropped a loop before sort of the morning light came anyway, so that was good. I don't know. I did have an issue with, as I say, with loop 20, and that was the PB loop. But no, it actually went really well. I think actually I held out all right. I think I'd done enough training, so I felt good physically. Mentally, I was okay for the majority of the run. So I think it was a good day.
Yeah. Now, as far as the kangaroos thing goes, like, did you actually see one, and how close did one get to you?
Yeah. Well, I see a real one and I see an imaginary one.
Right. Yeah.
So the real one, I was actually with Andy, and it was it would have been a dark loop, and it ran past us, and he was like, it's all right. And then I heard some like right banshee wailing sounds, and I'm like, oh my God. And Andy was there again, and he's like, it's okay. He said, I've Googled it. It's possums fighting. Like, I was like, oh God. And then I turned my head torch round on another loop, and I see two eyes reflecting. I'm like, oh my God, I bet that's a kangaroo. And then I went a little bit further, and I jumped out of my skin at the kangaroo that was right next to me, and I looked again, and it wasn't even there. There was no kangaroo. Yeah, so that was just my imagination.
Yeah. Now, at around what stage of the race did you start thinking to yourself, this is getting hard now?
I reckon about 27, like at 27. And the problem was that I was still managing to run my loops okay, but mentally I was on a bit of a decline, and I was struggling. And I think you probably see me for a few loops. I was kind of running around sort of crying and running and, a bit of snivelling. And I'd say it was around that 27, 28, I was like, shit, this is really getting hard now. And you kind of, remember listening to a podcast that Ryan did, and he said, like, a massive tip, stay in the moment, always in the moment. So me and Stacey would run around and be like, no, just 6.71K, It's 1 hour. Like
Yeah.
don't. And every time we let our heads travel to, we're going to do this amount, we're going to, get to 15, or we'd pull it back and no, we're just doing this one, Stace, just this one. So, I was trying to pull it back and not get my head to 30. And I was like, yeah, this is really hard when it was in the late 20s. I was definitely struggling mentally. And we'd thinned out, hadn't we? And it was our same 7 people that I don't know how many loops we were together, but no one dropped, and it was the same 7. And I kind of felt like I'm actually going okay physically here. Like, how the hell am I going to get out of this? Because I don't really want to be doing this no more. And my crew are going to say, what the hell? Because you're getting around with 10 minutes to spare. So how the hell am I? I thought I'm going to have to hide behind a tree or bloody slow myself down. Because like, when your body's doing it and your mind won't,
Yeah.
it's just like, was just struggling mentally.
Okay, so you were feeling things were getting hard around 27, but that was all mental rather than physical.
Yeah. My body, like, I'd get those knee pains, but nothing major. Like, it wouldn't have taken me out the run. But mentally, I was like, I don't think I've ever quite been there in a race where I've been in that much. It's just been that hard mentally, and you haven't been asleep. And I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't even that tired. Like, I got quite onto the caffeine, which was Sam's instruction when I started to dip, is get on the caffeine. And I'd been taking the no-dos and stuff. But yeah, it was like, it was a mental decline for me. I think my head just wasn't used to, I think, going that far into a run for that long.
And did you find that taking the no-dos helped?
Yeah, I did actually. I do feel like the because I didn't get that sleep deprivation that I got, on Shepperton in 19. I felt worse.
Right.
So I definitely think it kept me. I stayed off the caffeine and normally I'd be on Coke straight away, but I actually deliberately stayed off it for about 8 loops. So the first 8, I tried to keep off of it. Then once you're on it, I think you're kind of on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a bit of you thinking, is it worth taking this of a night? Because is this going to keep me awake? But I don't think I'd sleep anyway. Like, even if I had the blanket over my head and stuff, you can just hear crisp rackers and people talking. It's just really hard to completely switch off.
Yeah.
I definitely think that helped.
And do you think that this mental thing that happened from around the 27 mark, do you reckon it was just like, just not being able to like just stop and just relax for long enough? It was just like doing the same thing for such a long time. It just wears on you mentally after that long amount of time.
Yeah, like I can't even explain. I don't even know, because I remember one loop. I was getting just into a bit of a negative, and I remember one loop. I was kind of went out and I was crying, and Andy tried to grab my hand to say, "Come on, run with me." But I don't, no, because I'm in too negative headspace, and I didn't want to send him into the same one, because I thought everyone out there has got a battle of some sort, a mental or a physical battle. And if I start going, "Oh my God, this is so hard, it's terrible," and I put him into one, he might not flip back out of it.
Right.
And then I could kill his race.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm just too negative at the moment. I just need to, and I'll get out of it, because you'll carry on running and it will drop again, because they do drop those sort of things, don't they? And then you can go through another one. But yeah, I just don't think, I think because maybe I'd capped myself at 30 and I was heading towards it. It's like, oh my God, this is so terrible. And if I'd have capped myself at 35, would have been all right, and then gone, oh my God, this is so terrible at 32 and 33.
Yeah.
You get into the end of something, can't you?
I know what you mean. Yeah. Now, you mentioned about like no runners were dropping, and I think that this was the first race that I've ever been in when there were no runners dropping between 24. All the same runners who were there at 24 were still there at 30. It's the first time I've ever been in a race where that's happened.
Yeah, no, I thought, because there were a couple of people at certain points where I thought, oh, they just look physically like they might be done.
Yeah.
But they'd managed to keep going, and no one dropped, and we'd all get back. And I remember getting in once to the corral, and I'm like, oh my God, like all these people stopped turning up.
Yeah. It was almost like the start of a new race, and no one wanted. Well, I think everyone wanted to make it to the 30, but as well, I think no one wanted to be that person, the first one to drop as well.
Yeah, because it had been so long we'd been together, hadn't it? Yeah. And I think for a couple of loops, I'm like, this is my last loop, I'm done. And then I'll be back on the start line again, because my crew wouldn't let me stop.
Yeah.
So I think for about 2 or 3 loops, I said, I'm done, I'm not coming back, and I'll be back on the start line again. Yeah.
So when you started that 31st yard, did you know it was going to be your last one?
Yeah, I did. I think I was pretty done, and I was like, I'd checked out, and I think I said to Andy, like, I'm going to stop. He was going for his PB, and I said, "Where's the bell on the table?
Right.
Where is it?" And he's like, "I need to know where it is." And I knew I was beelining for it already. I
Yeah.
decided there was no, and I'd handshook with him. I won't stop. Like, I'll time out. But you don't even care you said that, do you, when you're that knackered? I thought, I don't even care I've said that. I'm stopping. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm really happy. And I kind of knew there'd be no regrets. I was super happy with the number. I
Yeah.
was happy I'd got there. I felt like I'd trained for that distance, you know. So, no, I knew I was stopping, which is yeah. And I didn't even regret it the next day, actually. I just was like, no, I knew I was stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how fast did you run that last loop in?
I wasn't fast, actually. I was slow because we actually came in. I don't know if you were with us, and we came in and a few of us actually held hands because there was another lad that Kelvin was dropping at 30 as well, and he was with me, and I think maybe Barry Thomas was, come on, we'll hold hands, we're going to run this together, and we were trying to all pull each other in, so we'd all run this final one together, and it was actually really nice. And I think we got round in about 56, 57, something like that.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah. And at that one, I thought, actually, and I didn't deliberately go slow. I am actually slowing down anyway. I probably would have only lasted a couple more anyway, I think, based on that last loop I did.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you go from being running all right to actually, I run that one quite slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you know it's going to be your last one, I think people do just run it slowly because they know I don't need a break after this loop. I'm going to stop.
Yeah,
I'll just take it easy and enjoy this last loop.
yeah, maybe. And then I think I ran straight up and I rang the bell. And then my crew that wouldn't obviously let me stop because they're very mean was like, well, didn't give you permission to go to the bell? I know. They never would have given me permission to go to the bell, would they? They were mean.
And after that 31st yard, physically, was there anything in particular that was hurting the most? Like, was it your knee or was there something else?
No, my toe has since. My toe's terrible. I'll have to send you an offline picture of my toe.
Okay.
It's not one for the viewers. But that, actually, I didn't realise where it was hurting. I thought it was the side of the toe, but then my toe just blew up and was absolutely disgusting. But yeah, I've never had that before, so I'll definitely lose a toenail. But no, I physically, like, the knee was a bit sore. But no, my body coped really well, which is fantastic. It gives me hope for another one.
Yeah.
I just need to get on top of my mental game a bit more, I think. And that's like that will be a work in progress as well, right? You know.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It looks like, I mean, I reckon by the sound of things, it sounds like you were really good mentally for a really, like, it sounds like you got through the night no problem. It sounds like you were really good with that side of things until late in the race. Like with me,
Yeah.
I started struggling mentally quite early in that first night.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, that might be because I've run so many and I just want to get that night over and done with.
Yeah, I remember saying that to you. I think there's a negative to have going that far because, like, next time I'm going to know that I'm going to have to get to that point of despair just to be at the same.
Yeah.
Like, whereas I didn't know that last time because I stopped more for, I was really tired, but my body really ached as well. I'd not gone that far. First 100K, I was super happy. But yeah, I think, yeah, it'll be harder next time, I think. But then there's a confidence in that. Well, I know I can do that distance. That's a positive, right?
Yeah, 100%. Now you did mention that, like, I mean, we all think back to how the races ended and things like that, but you mentioned you think back and you're totally at peace and happy with how it ended.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I do. The only thing that sort of it doesn't niggle me, but when I was finishing and I'd already rang the bell, then Ross came up to me, who was the winner of that race, and said, just come out. Why don't you come out on the start? I didn't really chat to him. He'd said hi, but he said, just come out on the start line. I said, I can't. I've rung the bell now. He said, it don't matter. Just start.
Yeah.
And I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, if he'd have said that to me before, would I have gone just because it was a new person to speak to? And You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's amazing how you can influence other people and not realise you are.
yeah.
So yeah, it does. I do think if he'd said that, would I have gone back out? And if I had gone back out, yeah. But you can always what ifs. But I know I was super, super proud. It was like, I was happy. It was a good number. We had a good race. It was a good place, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Now, as far as Sam Harvey goes, like he's one of the mentally toughest dudes out there. Has he had an influence on the way you think during Backyard Ultras, or do you think that that's something that you're going to work on more for your next one?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because I don't think, we've done the training, but we haven't really met together on a mental headspace level. But I think it's probably something we could digest for another, because my mental game is obviously the bit that wasn't quite there.
Mm,
So I think that's something I could definitely say, but not for this one. No, I think I was just pushing for as far as I could. And I've just hit an area that just needs some work. I don't think Sam, yeah. I mean, he's tough, yeah. And I knew I'd be accountable to say how many I'd done, but I don't think we worked together on that mental area. But yeah.
okay. Now, there are so many aspects in Backyard Ultras that you need to get right, like chafing, nutrition, pacing, and everything like that. So, when you were planning for Two Rivers, was there an area that you felt you needed to give special attention to make sure you did well?
I think probably was, yeah, probably the resting thing, because I knew that had got me at Shepperton, and that, I was really bloody exhausted. So I knew that I'd need to sit down and put my feet up. And I actually even bought a bed this time, which I didn't even lay on.
Right.
And also another thing that Stacey and I said is at Shepperton, we shared a gazebo, and then another couple of runners came in last minute. So there ended up four of us in a gazebo with about, three crew, and it was mental. And like, we never had that time to shut off or any,
Yeah.
no time to your own thoughts. So we both said, when we do the next one, we'll have our own gazebo. We just need that shutdown time. It's just too crazy otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's something we definitely wanted to sort of work on. Just you relaxing, you laying, you put your feet up, even if you're not sleeping. So we were aware that listening to the podcast, everyone, even if they don't sleep, tries to rest. So that was something, yeah. And the nutrition we're still working on, but we've definitely improved on the first one.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things, like when you tell people about Backyard Ultras who don't know anything about them, I think a lot of the time they're surprised that, like, most runners have a whole marquee all to themselves between loops. And until you actually run one, you don't actually realize how important it is to have that space and that neatness and routine between loops.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Right,
Yeah.
that was a massive game changer to
Yeah.
have our own stuff, and even to be organised. Like, I had an organiser up on the wall that I didn't have before, and I'd labelled it with everything, because I thought, I've got, Mick and Pete crewing me. They're not going to know where's my long sleeve top, my short sleeve top, and it's going to take my brain thinking, where is it? And I'm probably not even going to know the answer when I'm delirious. So we just labelled everything so they could find it. It just made it easier for them.
Yeah. Now, what would you say is the biggest, or is your biggest strength in the Backyard Ultra format?
Oh, I reckon my discipline, actually.
Yeah.
I reckon I'm really disciplined. So I think working with Sam was absolutely went a dream, because
Yeah.
I'm really disciplined. So I think on one of my blogs, he said, I'm actually going to keep your distance the same, Rose, because you're actually overachieving and I don't want to break you.
Mm.
So like, whatever he give me, I'm quite happy to do that, or a little bit more, but I wouldn't do less.
Yeah.
So I think my discipline to training, and if Sam says, today you're going to do hills, I would go and do hills, whether I want to or not. So yeah, I'd say that's what got me through, and it's got me through the backyard, is I've trained really bloody hard for it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think anyone who's ever ran 31 yards before.
It was 30 yards, 30.
Did you do 30?
Mm.
Oh, I thought you did 31. But I don't think
That's
anyone
next time.
so I don't think anyone who's ever done 30 yards before has been able to do it without really believing that they can. So what was your turning point, and when did you realize that you could actually break 30 yards in a backyard ultra?
I don't know. I think when we did the first one and we did 19 and we thought we've listened to all these podcasts, we know enough from everyone else's information to be able to put this together. And I was thinking, for me, it's just 5 more hours. I can do that. But then furthermore, you're like, yeah, but I can push on past that. Do you know what I mean? You can push on past it. And seeing you guys and the numbers that you do, it didn't make it seem such a big number.
Yeah.
When you just watched like the satellite champs or whatever, and you're like, oh my good Lord, and they're doing like that many numbers, like it would have seemed a bigger number a few years ago.
Yeah.
And even I'm reading at the moment, I'm still reading that the Backyard Ultra story. And I'll read them and they're saying they won this and the assist done like 30. And I'm like, oh my God, I could have been the assist. Like, but that was a few years back. It's harder now because, of course, the goalposts are moving and like the numbers now are just unbelievable, aren't they?
Yeah. So was there a time in the race where you actually realised I'm going to get to 30, that you knew it was going to happen?
Yeah, I think once I probably got to about 26, 27, I thought I can do this. If I want to do it, I can do this. Like, yeah. So I think I needed to get my 24.
Yeah.
And once I got my 24, you're just building on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just loop after loop, stay in the moment. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as you mentioned, you've run the 2 Rivers course and the Shepparton course. How would you compare the 2 courses and which one do you think is the easier course?
Look, I actually like Shepparton in as much as I think there's defined points to it. Whereas, so you'll run around the river or the lake, yeah, and then you've got the bit of path before you've got the garden, you've got your switchback down the hill, you've got a bit of a long run back, but you've got the campsite, the lake again. So I kind of like I could define sections, whereas as beautiful as running along the Murray in the day was, actually we did most of our running, certainly the first, we did 6 loops and then we hit nighttime and then we did 12 hours where you couldn't see that the Murray was there anymore.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to define any sections of that first 4K.
Yeah.
I just felt like it's turned into an 8K, I felt like in the end. It just was like growing this like 4K section. I liked once we got to the blue tree and then you'd go back and you're at the 6 and then you've only got your 0.71. Then I like it when I can define and cut bits off. So for that, I think Shepparton is probably a better course, an easier course. And it's a really lovely course, actually. So a little bit more hill in Shepparton, but I'd probably prefer it. And I feel safer there, like and there's no kangaroos about to hit me. So, yeah, a little bit more better lit as well.
Yeah.
But then there is that hill. Not massive hill, but there's a bit more. For I suppose if you're adding up all of the loops, loop after loop. So yeah, I'd go Shepparton. What would you go, Paolo?
Shepparton for sure, for the reasons that you mentioned. Because at night time, running at 2 Rivers through the bush for the first 4Ks, like you said, it felt like there was everything looked exactly the same and nothing changed. If those K markers weren't on the course, it would have been torture.
Oh my God, thank God for those.
Yeah. So they were definitely helping guide my running at night time. Those K markers.
Yeah, totally agree. That was a tough. The first 4K of that was just same, wasn't it?
Yeah. But as soon as you hit that 4K, but I think like with every race that you've got a certain point on the course where you think, okay, now I've reached here. I know I'm going to be able to finish this loop, and hitting that 4K mark was it for 2 Rivers, I thought. Yeah,
agree. Totally agree. And then you're going to run to the tree. You're going to run back to 6 and then just get your bit back. Yeah, exactly. And my head went as well.
Yeah. But my least favourite part was that run to the tree, and then I hate turnaround points where you have to run to one part and then run back.
And isn't that funny? We all literally, even though it was just like a little mark in the path, we all literally done a loop there. No one just went and turned back. We like run round that little bit of chalk, didn't we?
Um, what did you learn from your experience at Two Rivers that you'll adjust for the next one?
Oh God. What did I learn there? Tape up my big toe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm still gonna like just work on what I've already done. I think I'd love to think I would actually be able to get out again for another loop.
yeah,
I mean, it's impossible. It's just so hard to time out, isn't it? It's like I'd love to time out. I'd love to just get out there and time out. So I really would love to work on my mental game
yeah,
and just be able to do that. So I'll still work on my nutrition. I did so with my gels. I had a mix of pure gels, which I really like. They're like, have you had them? They're quite liquidy.
yeah. I have, yeah,
And Morton, which I'm normally fine with Morton, but those just were making me gag. The consistency
yeah. They're like
over
jelly, aren't
such a
they?
yeah. And normally I can cope with that, but I don't know if it was the duration of the run,
Mm,
and I was gagging on the end. So those pure gels, I always had one in my pocket. So I was thinking, if I'm not managed to take anything on board, I'm just going to have a pure gel. It's like a drink, but it's going to be some calories to me. It's it's going to be some of what I need. So
yeah,
I think I always would have one of those in my pocket. So I'd get back because I hadn't maybe run because in the back end my nutrition tailed off, and I'd say I managed to have a pure gel. So at least I'd had something, you
yeah,
know. So I
yeah,
kind of tried to keep up with the nutrition as long as I could, and then once it dropped, just something, just a pure gel, and I, carried on with my tailwind. So I'm getting something.
yeah, yeah. Now, do you think? So you did mention that all the loops you were running, like you weren't really going any slower. Like, do you think like in the next one, it might be an idea just to like in having your back pocket a plan for when you hit that situation to purposely run a slower loop?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely it is. It's just I'm like, even when they start ringing the bell for 3 minutes, I almost want to be in the pen straight
Yeah,
away. I'm just
yeah,
like a bit like that. I'm like, and in the end, they're like, no, no, you're all right. And I'm going, but I've got 30 seconds to go. I was like really anxious getting in really late. So I think there's an anxiety level to me going slow because I kind of just want to be done so I know I'm done.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, for longevity, yeah, I think it's something I probably need to work. I've actually just signed up to Shepperton's trial, so they're having another trial. So one of the yeah. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to that and just practice
yeah,
because I remember the course anyway because it was quite an easy course to remember, wasn't it? But I thought I'm
yeah,
going to go, just rock up, just practice my run walk with a bit of nutrition. And just so I can play with that then, and it's in a real scenario. Because when you do it at home, I get back between loops, and then I'll put the washing out, and I'll do a bit of washing up in my spare time between loops if I'm doing like a practice. Whereas once you're there, it really, in one of those trail series, it really is a practice.
yeah. Do you think, did you find like as well at Two Rivers, like you were running a loop and you knew you were going to get back in about 50 minutes and you kind of felt like walking it in, but you ran anyway because you wanted that extra time in the chair?
Yeah, exactly that. So I'd always run over the hill, sort of like down the hill, and
Yeah,
I'd stop when there was the stop road, like the road sign.
yeah.
I'd always stop at that little bit and just walk that bit in, and that became habit. So I'd
Um,
always stop there. But yeah, I'd always run into that point, and I could have walked that in.
yeah, yeah,
But that's like a learning thing. It's only my second full one.
yeah,
So yeah, I need to have a bit more confidence with going a bit closer to the line and being comfortable. You've seen it. You've seen people that finish with 2, 3 minutes to spare and they can churn out loop after loop. I just am not comfortable. I need to get comfortable with that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so you've signed up for Shepperton in September or just the trial?
No, I've signed up for the trial and the full one. Yeah. So I'm in an R in. I was like, oh, shall I, shan't I? Because, but when you finish, like, and I remember Tim Kapazak saying he finishes and he never wants to do it ever again, ever. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never running again. Like, I hate it. And
Yeah.
by the next day, Stacey's like, oh, I might do Shepherd. Would you come and crew me? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I might want to do it myself. Like, I ain't having that, Stace. Like, and then I think by 6 days afterwards, I'd booked it already.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got a crew coming up. We've got about 6 runners already signed up from our running group, the Mornington Misfits, that are going to come up and do it. So
Awesome.
yeah, be
Unreal.
fun. Yeah.
Now, do you think that your run at Two Rivers has it made you like love the backyard ultra format even more than you did before?
Oh, look, no, it hasn't,
Right.
because I went to a new level of pain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you'd understand that as much as you love it, like straight up, like, yeah, it's still quite raw how hard that was.
Yeah.
But it's addictive, isn't it?
Mm.
And you're like, how can I make it better? How can I make myself better? Like, you know, like, and if the head, for me, it's the head game needs
Yeah.
to work on.
Have you started running again yet, or is your toe still recovering?
No, I tried yesterday and my heel hurts at the back. It just feels like, you ever worn like a pair of, like, you know, and men wear dance, I call them dance shoes. You know, if you have to wear a pair of formal shoes and it absolutely kills
Yeah.
on the back of your heel, that's what my trainers currently feel like to me. So I did yesterday with the dog, just tried it, and I was like, oh no, it's still a bit sore.
Mm.
My legs feel fine. My legs could run, and my knee was actually okay. It's just my toes a bit manky and my heel, but I reckon just a little bit more time off. And Sam had said, you know what, you can take a week or two. It really don't matter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then slowly build again. So yeah. And I think after Shepherd, and I bounced back straight away. And before I knew it, I was doing 4 peaks. And I feel like I've run for about a year and a half
Yeah.
constantly. So it probably doesn't hurt to just,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, do you monitor your heart rate when you're sleeping at night time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because my heart rate's still way high at night time than it used. Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's the race. Like, it still hasn't got down to its normal level.
Yeah. So my resting heart rate normally would be about 42, 43 through the night.
Yeah.
But at the moment it's sitting at 48.
Right. Yeah.
So I can see it's not going down. It's still sitting consistently at that 48 at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like last night, mine didn't even get below 52. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's gone down into the 40s yet for me. So I think that's a sign that you're still recovering.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Mm. So what's the plan between now and Shepparton? Just the trial, and that's
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
much
I'm going to do
it?
that trial. I'm gonna pick back up with Sam again, because he's like a bit of a security blanket to me now.
Right.
Can't quite cope without him, and I kind of felt like it worked, and we got there, and we got to what we wanted, and exceeded it. So I'm going to actually work with him for Shepparton, and hopefully, and you don't know, because I could do Shepparton and not get that far this time. It depends if it's your day, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd hope to think I can. So yeah, I'll take a few weeks off and then get on and train for that. And then yeah, I don't know, I'll kind of see how that goes. I've got in my head Dead Cow Gully for next year, but I don't know enough about the course. I don't even know if there's animals on it. I need to find that stuff, Pato, first.
Yeah, well, there's definitely kangaroos, but I don't think
Yeah.
you have to worry.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll do this one, and then that will probably be my lot. I was sort of looking at what's it called? What is it? Wild Dog? Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah, yeah. In July, yeah.
Yeah, it's just too close to Shepherd, and I probably wouldn't have recovered enough anyway. And I think the weather could be crap as well, so I just wasn't sure. I sort of looked at that. I'm off, but yeah, probably just a bit too soon.
Yeah. And what about races that are not backyard ultras?
Yeah, I know. I probably, so this year I've said this is my backyard ultra year, that I'll sort of do the backyard ultras. I'd like to do another point to point. My
Yeah.
friends, all the same weekend I was doing that, a lot of my friends were in UTA,
Right,
which is, I did it last year and it was just a fantastic race. So I would like to do another point to point, yeah. And maybe 100, because I haven't done 100 point to point, so maybe do 100k.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something to, yeah. But yeah, I think when you're doing the backyard ultras, you kind of need to get fit for it, and it's a work up to that. So you're kind of taking out 3 or 4 months each time you commit to one, aren't you?
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, it sounds to me like you've pretty much hit a sweet spot with how you were feeling going into Two Rivers.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll probably stick to a similar plan, or do you think you'll even increase the amount you're running to get even fitter? Or
yeah, I don't know. I need to see what Sam thinks. I'm going to catch up with him in a couple of weeks' time and have a chat and sort of tell him about kind of where I want to take it and see whether that means an increase or whether I can sit on the same. So I don't know the answer. So I'll sort of check in with him and see. Yeah. So it was I was actually really comfortable on like the 110, 120 Ks a week. Really sits well for me. I cope with it well.
Yeah. And it's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. That's more than a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. You just sat well, but it was more little and often, I think, than like it wasn't ever going out doing massive runs. Not like if you're training for like a 50K, you might go and do some 3-hour, 4-hour, 5-hour runs. And there wasn't really a lot of that. It was just more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just your consistent 18 or 19 a day or something.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. An hour and a half, 2 hours, an hour and a quarter. They're all. Yeah.
And do you think you'll be back at Two Rivers next year?
I don't think I will, because I actually think if I did do one at that time of year, I'd probably do the Melbourne front yard just for something different.
Yeah.
And it's not too far away from it. So I'd probably pick Melbourne. It's closer and
it's an awesome race too. I was there. I didn't run in it, but I was there crewing it. It was an awesome race. Yeah, a great little race village, and it looks like a beautiful course too.
Yeah. I think it's good to try somewhere different, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no kangaroos there either.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Rose, you would know, I think I like getting my 3 backyard ultra tips from my guests. So what are your 3 backyard ultra tips?
I really should have written these down as well. I do know you do. And me and Stacey have considered this. And what did we say? The first one, I reckon your crew is super important. Like, absolutely is. I don't think I'd have got there without my crew this time. So picking your crew, people that know you, people you trust, is so important. And I was so blessed with my crew. So I'd say that is really, really important. And Stacey and I said, I'm running together. Your second one would just be to have fun. You see us run around those, we'll say hi to everyone, we'll have a laugh. I mean, we kept running past the same girl and she kept saying, oh, it's the smiley girl. It's like, and we'd go past and, cheering people on. So we just have fun. There's a point where obviously we split because it's just not working anymore. But if you can get to 100K, 15 loops in and you've just had fun, you're winning, aren't you? And the other one I would say is, your nutrition, which everyone says, and it is true. You just got to try and master that, because if you're not creating energy, you're not going to be going far. Yeah. So work in progress on that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's unreal. You did so well, like 30 yards in your second backyard. I knew you were going to do well, but 30 yards is awesome. And not that many women have done it in Australia. I think maybe you're in the top 20 or something like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And you're the first woman to break 30 in one of Robbie's races as well.
Yeah, yes. That will last until Shepparton, when someone come and goes after the silver ticket and takes my title. Well, keep away, Margie, keep away.
Well, I've got no doubt you can do well more than 30. And I mean, if you're running at Shepparton, that's the race to do it. Yeah, fingers crossed, hey? Yeah. So it should be lots of fun. So, we'll see you there, won't we? Yeah, I love that course. That's where, I mean, I just feel it's the easiest course to run. You don't have to look at your watch. All you need to do is run to that big bridge, and then you can have a nice walk, and then you can just like do a run-walk strategy all the way back, and it's I think it's the easiest course there is, and it's such a nice course too, like you said. Yeah, I liked as well when we pitched up, and it's all on grass, which was really nice. Like the village felt nice, didn't it? I liked that course. And it was like when you got to the top of the switchback and like the sun would be setting, it was beautiful. It was amazing, and I kind of felt safe there, and it was pretty well lit. Like we had head torches, but it's pretty well lit. You weren't ever into that complete pitch black. Yeah. Like it was pitch black at Two Rivers, that's for sure. It certainly was. How good did some of those houseboats that we ran past, and they were like having parties on the houseboats? I wanted to just go down and sit down in those houseboats so bad.
no, just quit it and just go to the houseboat. Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's amazing how those first 6 loops, and we were like, oh my God, this is so good. And we're along the river. It's so beautiful. And that section, in the end, I was like, oh my God, just Jesus Christ, kill me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you couldn't see that at all, could you? All you could, it was just, nothing.
Yeah. And when that sun came out on the Sunday morning, how much did that revitalise you?
Do you know what? Amazingly, because when I did the first one and I'd listened to all your podcasts and they were all like, the sun will come up, you'll feel amazing. And I was waiting for this magic and it never happened. And I think I quitted on, that was loop 19 and I quit. And it was like, never even worked anyway. But I'd say it's not the one where it comes up. It's the one where it's fully up.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because that one, when we did, I don't know if it was like 6 a.m., 6 till 7, and it just came up at the end. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. The sky's changing colour, but you didn't get that energy. But when we went out on the 7 till 8 one and that sun was warm and bright, that's the one where all of a sudden, and I just thought, you know what? I'm actually not going to look at my watch at all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at my watch all day. I'm just going to run. And when they said it's 6, it's the head torch lap for like Sunday, I was like, what the hell have I run all day? Oh my God. Like, didn't even know, because it was all the same brightness, and do you know what I mean? I just didn't look, and it was just amazing. And then I was like, oh my God, head torch, that means it's going to get dark and there's only 7 of us and there's going to be kangaroos, it's going to be hell.
Yeah.
So I would have been too scared to have carried on anyway, I reckon.
Right.
Yeah. I'll blame the kangaroos.
Yeah, I think also, that first loop when the sun comes up, because you're still wearing your head torch, it's actually the loop where you don't have to take out the head torch at all that feels awesome.
Yeah, 100%, I agree. And it did feel great. And I can't believe we ran all of that day. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I just had no concept of time at all.
Yeah. It was so much fun. And and like I said, it was so awesome how we had those 7 runners running for such a long time together.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And you're just thinking someone's going to drop, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
And I reckon once we dropped at 30, it was a bit of a house of cards then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that's like, Jesus, that's so hard getting into those numbers. Ross, I think, is the only one really that you just thought we could just have carried on, couldn't he? Just didn't. He was so level.
Yeah.
The whole time. He had a really good race, didn't he?
Yeah, he looks so good when he runs too. Like, it looks so easy.
Yeah, exactly right.
It definitely looked like he could have kept going through that night.
Yeah, he was. I'd like to have spoke to him some more, but he was always out in front. Yeah, but I think Shepparton, that would be a bigger amount of people as well, won't it? Which sometimes helps when you've got, like, I think when we did Shepparton, Stacey and I were kind of in the middle with our pacing, but based on this race, we was actually at the back the whole time, just because everyone seemed to go faster.
Yeah, well, I think there were a lot of people doing their first backyard ultra at Two Rivers, and a lot of the time when people are doing their first ones, they run their loops pretty fast. Yeah. And there were a lot of people running fast loops who dropped out around between 12 and 15. Yeah,
agree. Because we said, like, when we did Shepparton, we was like, oh my God, damn, everyone must have listened to Pav's podcast because they all know the run walk. Like, we thought we were the only ones that knew it.
Yeah.
So at Shepparton, everyone knew it. But when you got to Two Rivers, it was like, oh, these haven't listened to the podcast, have they?
Yeah. Awesome.
Faster.
Well, thanks heaps for coming on, Rose, and congratulations on running so well. I guess the last thing is, would you recommend the Backyard Ultra format to people who aren't sure? Like,
oh my God, I so would, because do you know what? I'm so thrilled to be on the podcast, and I'd so say if there's anyone out there that is listening, I am just a normal girl that just geeked up on podcasts and YouTube. Like, you honestly can do it. You listen to all of the podcasts that are on, and you watch YouTube, and it's just for everyone. You don't have to be a fast runner. You just have to have a bit of discipline, and just, anyone can do it. And I'd absolutely, you're always safe. You've always got people around you. There's always going to be a toilet. It's, and come and do Robbie's trial ones if you want to give it a go before you commit. They are fantastic. They are cheap. Like, absolutely. Like, yeah, I'd hope people listen to think, God, she was just normal. She just listened listened to the podcast and just worked hard.
Yeah.
And got it. And that exactly is all that's happened, isn't it? It's like, I was sort of not embarrassed when he said, did you want to be on the podcast? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, there's people like Phil Gore and Sam Harvey and that on there, and they're all amazing runners. And I'm just Rose. But then hopefully that's nice for people to hear, just someone normal.
Yeah. Well, I think Robbie, the motto, the logo, whatever you call it, for his races are commit, train, execute. And I think that pretty much sums up what you got to do. Like if you commit to a backyard ultra and train for it, then all you got to do is execute. And if you've done those first two things, you're gonna do well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just brilliant running around, and you've got, there was the girl Annie at the back, and I think she'd done a half marathon before, and she was like, I want to do, a few loops, and I think she ended up doing 4 or 5, and they're the people that you're like, come on, Annie, like we were cheering her on. It's just brilliant, isn't it? It's like, yeah, really good.
Yeah,
had good fun. So until the next one, hey.
Yeah, 100%. I'll see you at Shepparton for sure.
You will do. Okay, thank you, and well done on your race as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was pretty happy. I was happy with how. My mind wanted to keep on going, but at the end, my knee was just it was the sorest I've ever been. Not just in a race, but just in life. The pain in my knee was excruciating. So,
do you think that was the course?
Sorry.
Do you think it was the course? Because my knee played up as well.
Maybe, because the course was so tricky as far as where you had to put your feet, and there were so many rocks and unstable places to put your feet. So I think it definitely played a role. But yeah, it kind of just makes me think, oh gee, I wish I kind of if I reached that point in other backyard ultras, my PB would be a lot higher than it actually is.
Yeah, because your mental game was down.
Yeah.
You were just level. You just was running them all really level, like what I say Ross was like, and you were the same. I think you were just level on your running. Whereas other people, you could see their ups and downs. You can see all their struggling physically or whatever, and then they might bounce back. And I just run and cried a bit, didn't I? So everyone was having their own battles, but you were level, and yeah.
Well, one of the thing that you say with being level is one of the things I learned when I interviewed Ihor Veris. Is that he said, I said to him, you looked so comfortable out there. It didn't look like you were feeling pain at all. And he said, you got to fake it till you make it. And that's what I think when I'm running, you almost trick yourself into thinking that you're okay just because you try. I focus so hard on trying to look like I'm okay that I kind of even trick myself that I am. Yeah.
And that's what, Sam said, of course you're hurting. You're running 100K, you're running 100 miles. Not everyone's hurting.
Yeah.
Of course you are. You're not going to run that far and nothing's going to hurt.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I'm not a poker face at all, though. I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve. I'm blabbing to everyone, just.
Well, I mean, when you were running that loop on 20 and you were crying, I didn't even know you were crying. The only reason why I knew you were crying is because you told me you were crying.
Attention, I'm crying here. I thought you knew, and I was like, oh my God, he must just think, oh my God, got this girl breaking down on me. I think it was just, I don't know what happened on that loop. It was just PB loop, and it got in my head, I think.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is you were still running and you still made it back in time, so that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when I had Ryan Crawford on the podcast even he admitted that he sometimes cries during loops. So.
Yeah. I won't name names, but I was crying on one of the later loops, and I was sniffing and crying, and I looked at the guy to the side of me, and I looked, and he had tears on down his eyes, and it just warmed my heart. And he wasn't making a noise crying, but I could see he was crying, and it actually just warmed my heart. And it makes you protective of people, doesn't it? Because you're like, shit, you're gritty, you're just digging in. I had lots of respect actually for that, just seeing those tears, and yeah,
100%. Awesome. Well, look, thanks heaps for coming on, Rose. Great catching up, and congratulations again on such a great run.
Thank you, and see you soon. See you at Shep.
Yep, sounds good.
See you. Thanks. Bye. See you. Bye.